Hi cereal lovers, Conoisseur here back with another episode. I know I've been gone the past few weeks. We had something of an attack, a malicious attack. I couldn't log into my YouTube account for what's been 2 or 3 weeks now because they were telling me at YouTube support, Anna, by the way, very helpful if you're watching this, thank you again. They were telling me I was missing my special character. Now this was very unusual because I hadn't set up a special character for my password, and it turns out a special character can be like a question mark. Well, I was questioning this, or an exclamation point, and they were saying that an exclamation point was at the end of my password, and this was the reason I was locked out, is because I wasn't putting this in. But I to this day do not remember creating my password to have this exclamation point, which is why I think this was a malicious attack manufactured by none other than our former friend, Wacky Tabacky. Now, you may think I'm jumping to conclusions here, but back when we were in the halfway house, he was always telling me, that wily old man, that he in his free time, he built computers. He was something of a techno nerd, which means he's a hacker. You know, those types, if they can build a computer, they sure can hack one. And I think he's scared. I think the petition is gaining traction. And sure enough, he tried to stop me as best he could, but it didn't work because Anna, in YouTube support, who was once again very helpful, and I'm sure very beautiful, I didn't see her though, did his best, but it didn't work. We have prevailed, we have overcome, and Wacky T, if you're watching this, you know what? I think there's still a good person in there, and if you're willing to let begons be begons, I'm willing to put this aside if you are, and once again work together, but you gotta give me back my video, man. Everyone wants to see the Tricks to Trolls 2 review, which again is probably the greatest thing I'll ever make. I can't top it, I can't go back and reshoot it. I need that original video, which he has. Maybe someday we'll get this, but you know, it's not good to dwell on the past, it's time to dwell on the future. And in my mystical ball, my mystical ball, what do I see for your future? It's a new video, and we're gonna jump in right away. So what we have here for this week's review are none other than Oreo O's. And oh, are we excited? Oh, are we? Are Oreo excited to dig into a bowl? Now you might be confused because you're saying, what's this? Oreo's a cookie. Well, they made it into a cereal. Much like Cookie Crisp, I feel like the history between cereal and cookies is a long and sordid affair. Cereal and cookies, two breakfasts, both alike in dignity, two households, brought together at last by milk, because when you think of cereal and cookies, you often think of milk. So it wasn't long until food scientists from all around the world finally put their heads together and decided to blend the two into one beautiful item. And that's what we have here today from the good people at Post, not the post office. So let's see. First off, is there a mascot? Now, once again, this is something that a lot of recent cereals have been losing points on, is there is no mascot. Some of you younger viewers might not remember, but in the early 2000s, we still had this cereal. It was gone for a long time. I don't think the world was quite ready for it. But back in the old days, the original peaceful era of 2002, we had Oreo O's, but it was an extra creamy version, and they had not only marshmallows, which are sorely lacking to this day, but they had a mascot. They were these jaunty little fellows of white, and they wore shades, just like your favorite Conoisseur, and they were portly and round, the right jolly old elf. And maybe that's the reason they didn't come back, is, you know, this is an era of fat phobia and fat shaming, and maybe they just don't want kids eating cereal with a fat little marshmallow guy putting it out on display. That's shameful to think about. I think if they were to come back now, they'd be welcomed with open arms and then maybe eaten. But who knows? Maybe after this episode, they will gain traction and come back. But for now, their absence is sorely missed, and I must dock points for the Oreo O's not having a mascot. Even a cookie, like just an Oreo by itself, not this version, but the cookie version, just peppered in the background or something. That'd be okay. I might have given them half a point for that. But sadly, I am remiss. There is no mascot, so we must move on to back of the box. So this is our next point, the back of the box for the Oreo O's. Once again, not coming out on the strongest foot here because there is no game, there is no trivia, no maze, nothing of the sort. It says you couldn't dream it any better. Well, that's a matter of opinion because I could dream it better. And what I'm seeing here is more of a nightmare, because a dream would be a fun little game, maybe even a challenge, like, hey kids, after you eat your bowl of Oreos, see how many regular Oreos you can cram in your mouth. That'd be fun. I'd say 6, if I were guessing. But let's hear what they have. Make your milk happy. It's the stuff breakfast dreams are made of. Chocolatey, crunchy O's with that Oreo cookie taste you love, and a rich creme coating combined to give you a bowl full of cookie milk that tastes so good you'll finish it off with a smile. Dig into your old favorite. Well, it's a very nice picture. I'm sure the photographer who took it is quite the professional. And it's lovely sentiments, but they're ultimately hollow if there's nothing to do on the back. I mean, it's very nice words, but we already have the cereal. There's no need for a further advertisement. You won, Oreo. We got it. Now give us something to work with here. But all is not quite lost. There is still trivia, which, isn't quite as fun as a full game on the back of the box, but it is still something. Let's see what they have. Fun facts about Oreo cookies. Learn something new every day. The number of Oreo cookies made in a year would circle the earth 5 times. Well, wouldn't we all like to live in that world? There are factories that make Oreo cookies all over the world. These factories help produce 40 billion cookies every year. If stacked together, these cookies would circle the earth 5 times. Imagine if we were a planet like Saturn, but instead of a ring of rocks, we had a ring of cookies. We'd be having to fend off all the aliens trying to eat our planet and probably have to kill them. The first Oreo cookie was sold in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1912. Home of Tony Soprano, actually. I wonder if he ever had an Oreo. Today, Oreo cookies can be found in 100 countries including New Jersey. One cookie takes nearly an hour to make. Sure, it takes 59 minutes to produce a cookie, but does it take that long to eat one? Well, that's a matter for debate. See, again, if they'd had a challenge on the back, like how fast can you eat an Oreo cookie, it would tie into the trivia. They could have been simpatico. But on that front, there is some redemption here with the trivia, but ultimately it doesn't quite make up to a full back of the box. So on that point, let's move on to the shape of the cereal. So now it's time for the shape of the cereal. So here we have our classic O shape, and you may be saying at first glance, well, it's just, like any other Fruit Loop or Cheerio. Well, this is why I am the connoisseur and you are just the cereal watching guy, because this is not just an ordinary O shape. It looks like an Oreo cookie, except in O form, hence the name Oreo O's. See, it's not just a clever name after all. So not only do you have the cookie brown, you have what appears to be marshmallow type sprinkles. So even if they don't have the marshmallows themselves, the marshmallows still have a presence to some degree, and there's a nice coating of glaze or sugar. It looks kind of like a donut more than a cookie, but just so we can compare and contrast, I have the actual Oreos here that I asked my wife to go out and buy. This is none other than, hold on, Kaleidos. Well, that's not an Oreo. Chocolate sandwich cookies. Well, I guess that's all it takes to be from Kroger. Now, these aren't Kroger O's. These are Oreos. Honey. That's fine. Ignore me. That's all you do. Well, we have them, so let's crack them open and see what we're working with. I mean, they certainly... I mean, they certainly look... like Oreos. You've got your typical cookie shape of 2 sandwiches, a wafer and cream in the middle. Whereas the originals had a Nabisco font that says, dip 'em, love 'em. Dip 'em, love 'em. I mean, I guess it's nice that they have instructions, because maybe that's one thing that Oreos can improve on, is tell you how to eat them if you're stupid. But they certainly look like Oreo cookies, as I've said, but let's see how they measure up to the taste before we measure them up to the cereal. Tastes like chocolate. It tastes like cream. It's not bad. So I think we've given the Kaleidos from Kroger a fair taste test, and we can verify that although they're not quite Oreos, the taste is certainly there, and they'll certainly work in a pinch. And I did talk to my wife, and she says they are actually $2 cheaper than regular double stuffed Oreos, which in this economy you can never be too frugal or fiscally sound. In fact, I was amazed that Oreos are even that expensive these days. It turns out there's this thing I read about called infraction, or the things you do to a bicycle tire. Inflation, that's it. And that's why not just cereal, but cookies are so expensive these days. And I'm not an economist, but I think maybe you'll have more spending in the fiscal reserve if you start lowering the prices of cookies and cereal, but that's just this connoisseur's opinion. So let's finally get around to comparing the Oreo O and the Kroger Oreos. So they're certainly missing the hole in the middle, but other than that, the tone of brown is there, or black. The cream, the little speckles of cream, match the cream in the cookie. And if I didn't know any better, this was an Oreo in cereal form. So they certainly did their research, the good people over at Post, and really got down to the basics of what a cookie is supposed to look like. But it's all well and good to do research. Now it's time to do what I've already been doing for the last 20 minutes and get to another taste test. So now the time has come for the ultimate role in each review, the taste test. We have our Oreo O's, poured perfectly by none other than yours truly. We have our oat milk from Planet Oats. My wife didn't quite like how I was looking at the lady on the Khalifa Farms milk, so now this is the new household milk, Planet Oat. Nothing quite as alluring on it, but it's just amazing science what they can milk these days, including oats. And Planet Oat, maybe that'd be another fun planet that I'd like to see someday. It's right next door to the planet of Earth, but with the Oreo rings around it, so maybe they can get together and we can eat the planets. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But now it's time for the taste test. Let's see how Oreo cookies measure up in cereal form. Well, without further ado, let's dive in. I'm trying to separate myself from the Kaleidos, the Kroger Oreos, and bring myself back to an actual Oreo taste. So far, I think they certainly compare. You taste the chocolate, and you taste the cream, and the milk really brings it all together. You know, dunking cookies in milk is such an exercise of the past, so extraneous. It's good to know we finally moved past that. Delicious. Folks, this is Maybe one of the best cereals I've ever tasted. It's everything a cereal should be. It's sweet, it's sugary, it's good for you, it's good for your soul, and it's, it's going out on a limb here, but I might actually be willing to negate the poor ratings of the lack of a mascot and the lack of anything fun on the back of the box. I mean, if they still want to improve this, it would go a long way, but I can overlook that because the taste of this cereal is just so exquisite that I feel like I'm in a cookie heaven, right next to planet Earth with the cookie ring. I gotta think of a name for that. Maybe I'll trademark it and we can make the planet ourselves one day with a GoFundMe. I'm not sure how that works, but we'll do it. Actually, yeah, if they're making that many Oreos in a year and we have that many cookies, I don't see why we can't just make the Oreo ring ourselves around the planet Earth. Boy, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that just unite the nations of the world? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. The cookie is this, the cereal is this good. It's opening something else in my mind. But go out and buy Oreo O's, even if there's no little fat fun guy of marshmallows on the front. Go out and buy it anyway. And Wacky T, if you're watching this, I'm over here eating a delicious bowl of cereal with millions, potentially, of fans around the world who love what I do, and I love what I do, and you're at home hacking people's computers, making up special characters and passwords. Who's really got this sad life here, huh? I think it's you, and I think you're gonna do what's right, and you're gonna give me back my Trolls 2 Tricks special review, which everyone is just, folks, please, I get it, but stop sending me letters in the mail, stop emailing me. I'm working hard as I can to get you this video. It's gonna come someday, but you have to stop asking for it. Other than that, I'm gonna finish my bowl of Oreo O's, and y'all keep on watching. Take care.